Hi, welcome to Boss Digi class with me, Mr. Andrew. This is past simple tense, lecture 1 for grade 7. So what is past simple tense? Past simple tense is a verb tense that talks about the past. What does it look like? So past simple tense has three main structures. The first is positive or affirmative. The second one is negative. And third one is interrogative or questions. So here, let's look at examples where we have the to be verb and the other verbs. So positive affirmative to be would be subject plus was were. They were friends, right? Or she was an athlete, if we're using was. And for the verbs, subject plus verb ed. She worked yesterday. She worked yesterday. Negative examples would be subject was not or were not. They weren't friends. They weren't friends. Negative format of other verbs would be subject plus did not plus the verb in the base form. She did not work yesterday, or we can say she didn't work yesterday. Interrogative forms would be was or were plus subject plus the question mark, etc. They weren't friends. They weren't friends. The interrogative form for other verbs would be did plus subject plus verb in the base form and the question mark. Did she work yesterday? Did she work yesterday? Okay, now we know what it looks like. Let's take a look at what regular verbs look like in the past simple tense. So there are several spelling rules. A base form plus ed, walk becomes walked, play, played, right? Verbs ending in e, like for example, like, this verb ends with e, right? And move also ends with e, right? We don't use another ed here. We only add one d, right? There you go. So like becomes liked, move, moved. And the third spelling rule would be verbs ending in a consonant y. We change the y into I plus the ed. Remember this? So carry. Carry ends with the letter Y. Very good. So Y becomes I. That's right. And then the ed. So carried. Carried, the Y becomes I. Study. The word study, the verb study ends with the letter Y. That's right. So we use IED. Study becomes studied. Study becomes studied. Some verbs ending in a single consonant, the second plus the second last letter is a vowel. Then we need to double the last letter plus ed. So what do we mean by this? Plan. Plan. This verb ends with a single consonant, right? One N. But the second last letter, so this is the last letter, this is the second last letter, is a vowel. A-I-E-O-U, right? So when this happens, how do we make it into past simple tense? We add another consonant here. We double the last letter. So for example, planned, double N. Stopped, stopped, double P. Okay? What about irregular verbs? So there are two types of verbs in the past simple tense, the regular and the irregular. Well, many verbs are irregular in the past simple. These are the most common. Say becomes said, not said, right? When said, like ed, no. Said, she said hello in the past, right? Make becomes made. We made a kite, right? Go becomes went. He went to the store. Take, took. They took a picture. Come, came. My son came home. Not comed, right? See becomes saw, not seed, right? She saw a movie. There you go. So how do we know which one is regular and which one is irregular? The part of the answer would be we memorize it, but the better answer would be we use it all the time. We practice using it every day, every time. So we're familiar with it. We know which one is regular and which one is the irregular form. All right. So how do we use it? And why do we use the past simple tense? So there are 4 reasons. The first one would be to explain a series of completed actions. So when we want to communicate, okay, I did this, number 1, and then number 2, and then number 3. So for example, he sat down, number 1, action 1, took out a notebook and a pen, action 2, and then started writing, action 3, right? It's a series of completed events or actions. Habits in the past. Jen played the piano when she was a child. So these are habits that Jen did in the past, but no longer is doing right now in the present. The third is we use past simple tense to communicate completed action in the past. So for example, what? Sal baked a cake yesterday. So it's already completed, right? It's already done in the past, okay? And the fourth reason why we use and how we use past simple tense would be to communicate the duration in the past. So for example, he stayed up all night. We lived in Chicago for a year, right? So the duration of the past. All right, when did it happen? When did the past tense happen? Right? So we're talking about timeline here. So there are 2 timelines. One, when we are talking about an action in the past, I ate at lunchtime. So this stripe here is the present. The right portion of this arrow is the future, and the left one here is the past, right? So X means that I ate at lunchtime. This is the action, which is eating, right? Ate in the past. What about if it's a past habit or repeated action? We can also use the past simple tense. I played the violin when I was young. So young here in the past, right? Played once, played twice, played every day, X, 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 X. Things, past habits or repeated actions in the past, okay? Right, what are time signals? What are the key words, the clues, right? When we use past simple tense, what are the words that we often use as a signal, as a sign that we're using past simple tense? So we can use specific time here. So for example, yesterday, there's a specific time in the past, like yesterday, last night, last week, last year, at, on, or in a time in the past or ago. Then that's usually words that we use when we want to communicate past simple tense. Example, I met my sister for lunch yesterday, right? We see the word here, yesterday. Did you watch the game last night? There you go. Last night is here. The mail came at 11 a.m. Came is the past simple tense, right? So which one is the specific action in the past? You got it. It's 11 a.m., right? I moved to the city on September 1st, 2015. Moved. Remember the D here? Past simple tense, right? Moved. On, this is the specific time in the past. And ago, Miranda graduated 5 years ago. Here you can see ED, right? Or D, rather. D, graduate with D, right? Verb ending with E, we just need to add D there, 1D. Graduated, so which one is the specific time? You got it, 5 years ago. There you go. That's the end of our lesson. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.